We're already live. Yeah, that goes fast. So hello and welcome to another episode of Common Chaos Live with me, Christian Rauchenwald, on this kind of weird Thursday. Weather sucks a little bit, sunny, rainy, sunny. I hope you all had a great week so far. As always, before we jump into this episode, let's get the usual disclaimer out of the way. Say it with me. Everything that I share in this live stream / video is my personal opinion and in no way financial or professional advice of any kind. You should always do your own research, consult certified professionals, draw your own conclusions, and make your own decisions. Besides that, I hope that I'm able to answer all the questions you have and that we cover a little bit of ground today. Please, everyone, also welcome Cherry, our new, in quotes, social media and community manager that's here to help out with the chat, with the Discord community, and a bunch of other things. Be kind to her, or she will just slap you on the wrist, or I don't know, give you a timeout, or I don't know. But yeah, welcome, Cherry. Great to have you here. Hi, Ovo. Hi, Akafreni. I don't know how to pronounce it. Great to have you here today. We have a little bit of a smaller starting audience. So, hi, Dominic. Long time no see. Yeah. Well, at least you're here. That's all that matters. And yeah, so welcome, everyone. When do we start? We start by sharing my screen and covering a few of the things that happened since yesterday, I guess. So first of all, surprise, surprise, for those of you watching Pi Network, you may or may not have noticed that during the last 24-hour period, there has been on OKX, BitGet, MEXC, Gate.io, and Pionex. So those are the 5 exchanges that completed KYB and where Pi is officially listed. But just on the top 4 of them, you can see that there has been 1 billion, 1.9, 2.2, slightly more than $3 billion in trading volume for Pi alone. Obviously, yesterday we almost reached the $3 mark. So on some exchanges we reached 299, on others 297. CoinMarketCap shows 297, and obviously it was clear to expect that some people that have Pi in their exchange wallets, that they will have a take profit at $3 or slightly before that, simply because it's a psychological price level. We saw then a decline based on people taking profit, and then a recovery to again get close to the $3 mark, another small decline, and now we are basically in the area of $2.60. Remains to be seen if we first get a small further retracement, maybe to I would say 220 would be the bottom here, possible if we get another retracement. Other than that, we should, in the next push, actually potentially break the $3 mark, which is kind of insane. It's, yeah, like an insane launch for Pi Network. If we look at the monthly chart, we can see we launched like this. And originally, if we zoom back a little bit, originally it looked like this. Yeah. So, and since then, if we look at the big picture, it's an insane launch. Yeah. So maybe a minute of silence for everybody that cashed out at 60 cents. Yeah. So just saying. Anyway, so insane trading volume. There's also a post on Reddit about this that shows the comparison. So we can also look into the numbers to double check them in a second. So Bitcoin had 70 billion trading volume, Ethereum 30 billion, XRP 6.6, Solana 5.2, and Pi 3.48. And with that, more trading volume than BNB, so Binance own token, Doge, Cardano, and a few others. If we look on the main page and sort by market cap, you can see with $3 billion in trading volume, Pi would be volume, not market cap. Yeah, Pi would be on spot number 8, as said before. BNB, before Litecoin, before Doge, before Cardano, before Tron, before Chainlink, and a few other very, very big and popular cryptocurrencies, which is incredible. As far as market cap goes, Pi now has a market cap of around $17 billion, which puts it in spot number 11. Yeah, it puts it in spot number 11. And even if the price were to drop by almost 50%, it would still stay in that area, in the top 15 coins, which is insane. Yeah, it's just an incredible good launch. Today, So outside of this amazing trading volume, the voting on Binance Square ends. So far, the poll, latest thing that I saw from 3 hours ago, still shows 86% of users voted yes. So within the next couple of days, we should, or maybe within the next weeks, we should see an announcement from Binance. And if they listen to their audience, that announcement will be or will include the listing of Pi. And keep that in mind. So we talked about the trading volume. So just how much trading volume Pi has, and that is without being listed on, where do we have it? Without being listed on Binance, without being listed on Bybit, without being listed on Coinbase. Yeah. So without being listed in one of the top 3 exchanges, Pi already, in terms of volume, made it into the, what did we say, top 15, top 10. So volume was 3 billion, top 10. And in terms of market cap is already in the top 15. So if Binance announces a listing, I believe that we'll see the $3 level break really, really quick. And it's going to be very, very interesting from here. Obviously, short-term interest in Picoin and so on is what drives the values. New listings drive the value. Long term, the ecosystem will be relevant. But those two things are tied together because, as I shared in previous episodes, if you are a developer that has the skill to develop apps for the Pi ecosystem, for maybe for mobile phones or whatever, in the previous years when you didn't even know if or when there will be an open mainnet and if the token will have a decent value, many developers would not have wasted or spent their time on writing apps for Pi. Now that there is a value, that the launch went that well, that it might get listed on the #1 exchange with Binance and so on, I believe that more and more developers will look into what kind of apps they can bring into the Pi ecosystem. And that again will then create use cases, which gives people reasons to buy Pi coins and people that mine Pi reasons to not sell it on the exchange, but instead use it within those apps. So again, I believe that within the next year, maybe even sooner, we're going to get to see more apps and more professionally developed apps in the Pi ecosystem. So until that happens, we might at some point see a little bit of not sell-off, but a little bit of a decline, when the hype of the listings is over and so on, and things stabilize a little. There might be a little bit of a downwards movement or so, because some people that then get their coins will just want to cash out, which is fine. And developing new apps, if a developer or an agency decides today we're going to put our app into the Pi ecosystem, depending on the scope of the app, that also takes best case weeks, worst case years to do. And so there will be a period when the hype dies down a little bit until we then see the result of that such a great launch in the form of more apps launched, which then again creates more demand and should then at least stabilize, if not increase the price further. So much about that. Let's look at the chat real quick. Hi, George. Great to have you here. Hi, Joey. Hi, Xarius. Let's look at so grace periods ends. I fingers crossed for an extension. So I have to say that right now would be the perfect time for an extension, because with such a great launch, obviously more and more people come back to their Pi apps. And the problem or challenge is that if you haven't used Pi in months or maybe years, then you go to KYC and it tells you no slots available, because you have to have 30 mining sessions completed within the last 30 or within a recent 30-day period. Or within a recent period. So if you haven't used Pi in a year or two and you come back and you want to submit KYC today, you might see the pop-up no slots available, which means you first have, or it means one of two things. Either you first have to complete 30 mining sessions, which puts you already past the grace period, or your account got flagged for one reason or the other. For that matter, there's also a video I made that maybe Irina can share in the chat. So that because there's a form that you have to submit, so the team reviews your account so you can actually submit KYC. Exactly. So, And so the thing is, extending the grace period right now would in that case make sense, because obviously more people come back and they would be disappointed if now they figure out, just because they were inactive for some time, they are unable to complete KYC. Lifting the 30-day requirement would not be a solution, because that 30-day requirement has a very, very important purpose. I don't know if I recall the exact number, but From what I remember, it takes 21 days to form a new habit. Yeah. So when you first install Pi and for 3 weeks, every day you push the button, you actually develop the habit of doing it. And so the chance that you forget about it is relatively low and you keep doing it. Yeah. That's why it makes no sense to allow people to submit KYC on day one, because they then might create an account, complete KYC, and then after 2 days forget about the app, where they haven't even earned the 1 Pi that they will have to pay to the validators for KYC itself. Yeah. So waiving KYC 30-day requirement is not a solution, because I feel it's important that people develop the habit of using the app once per day at least. Yeah. Which means, as said, I hope that the grace period gets extended, ideally by 2, maybe even 3 months, because again, people need time to hear about the open mainnet launch, to see how successful it was, to get back into the app. Maybe they have to first figure out how to access their account again. And then they need to mine for 30 days to be able to submit KYC and so on. So I feel like 2 to 3 months would be an ideal extension. But on the other hand, if the core team sticks with the deadline tomorrow, then it would also mean that a lot of Pi will be not burned, but added back to the supply. And with the right now much lower mining rate, it would actually also benefit the price development, because less Pi gets into circulation early. Yeah. So personally, obviously, extending the grace period for me personally would mean that more of my referrals could come back and I get a bigger share of my Pi. Yeah, a bigger piece of my Pi. But on the other hand, I also see the benefit of that not happening, because again, less Pi that gets in circulation early makes it more scarce and gives the price a better chance to increase further. Moving on, Xerius says, if Pi succeed in the ecosystem they are trying to build, most of the cryptos will go down because the innovation worked, unless whales holding those try to reject. I don't think most of the cryptos will go down. There's always Pi is completely different in the way that you have to complete KYC and KYB. For example, if we look at KYB, the core team shared, KYB is basically there because it makes sure that the wallet that the business has is basically for a verified business, which also helps in preventing potentially or fighting scams, because fake listings, while they can exist, we can see that Pi Network is listed on more exchanges, but only actually 5 of them have passed KYB, which means the others are not. So Digifinex, LBank, CoinW, those exchanges actually are either trading IOUs or they are using a personal wallet in some way, which probably shouldn't work at all. So Pi Network is different in many aspects, but it also means for everybody that anyone that is about or focused on anonymity and so on, they will still prefer other cryptocurrencies. Yeah. Then obviously Bitcoin will always be the number one because it's the first, it's the most popular, and it's kind of like the digital version of gold in some aspects and so on. And there will other blockchains will still have people interested in them. Yeah. So you also have to consider other blockchains. If you're a whale, it's kind of tricky. I mean, obviously you could now on an exchange buy Pi coins, but with other coins that exist or that launch, you could have already just bought a lot on day one or doing an initial coin offering, so an ICO, and therefore buy controlling interest, whereas with Pi, you don't have that option. Even now, if you would be a whale and you wanted to pump billions into Pi, you couldn't, because there are only right now 70, 140, 200, around 250 and 220 million Pi on exchanges. So that's the most you could buy right now, which is only a small fraction of what's going to be in circulation in years to come. Yeah. Whereas with any other cryptocurrency, you can on day one just in quotes buy up huge portions. So I think if the ecosystem succeeds, it will have an impact, but I don't think that a lot of other cryptocurrencies are going to suffer too much for it. Yeah. So that's my opinion there. So long story short. Yeah. How do you view the global consensus value? Is it absolute nonsense or can there be a kernel of truth?
The question.
Huh?
I knew you would like the question.
Yeah, or is there a kernel of truth if pi is kept scarce? So I've said it in the past, and my opinion hasn't changed. In the past, already before the launch, my exact words were, anyone that promotes the global consensus value is either delusional, stupid, or trying to scam people. Now, actually, my exact words is either delusional, a complete moron, or trying to scam people. Yeah, that hasn't changed. It's simple math. Yeah, I had a comment today on the YouTube channel about somebody that just suggested that pi would go to $500. Yeah, so which is far away from 314,000. Yeah, so but just $500. Let's run the math. Yeah, so right now at $2.70, roughly $2.60, pi has $17.45 billion market cap. Yeah, so divided by $2.66, that's 6.5. So if we say it would be valued at $500, that would be $3.2 trillion market cap with only the current 6 billion circulating supply. So with only 6% circulating, it would already be, I'm going to have to move that aside, it would already be, twice the market cap of Bitcoin. So $500, even with only considering 6% of the supply, because that's what's currently circulating, it would already be the double of Bitcoin. Yeah. Now imagine how big the market cap would be if we assume 314,000. It's just not possible. The only situation where that would be possible in US dollars is if the US dollar suffers hyperinflation. So like in, I don't know, like in Venezuela, where then I don't know, or like in Germany 100 years ago, where basically if you have a wheelbarrow full of cash, the wheelbarrow is worth more than the cash in it. Yeah. So then it could be worth 314,000, but those 314,000 would not be enough to buy a loaf of bread. Yeah. So it's just, so if we assume the dollar stays relatively stable and has reasonable inflation, and not hyperinflation, then it's impossible to reach that value. Yeah, it's simply math doesn't check out. Yeah, so and yeah, so can pi reach $10 or more this year? Yeah, I mean, yeah, sure, $10, yes, but would it be healthy? You always have, so it's always like, it's not about what it can reach. It's like you see on the $3 mark. Yeah, so yesterday we touched $3, $2.99. In some exchanges might have been 3.00, and you see the immediate result, because some people, either because they're actively trading it or because they feel, okay, at that value I'm comfortable cashing out, will just sell there. Yeah. Now we covered it before the launch already. If pi is valued at $10, then basically if you have 30 pi, you have $300, and the average salary in, I don't know, Tajikistan or so is $80 per month. Yeah, so sorry, $300. Yeah, so somebody that uses pi and happens to be from Tajikistan or so, if he sells at $10, only 30 pi would be able to cash out 3.5 months salary on the average income. Yeah, we're not talking about software engineers and other people, but like lower priced jobs there. Yeah, if pi is $10, so I guess the average income in Germany after taxes is around 2,000 euro. We're gonna ignore the exchange rate right now, but if it's $10, then you need 200 pi, and if you sell that, it's the same as if you work an entire month. Yeah, so the challenge here is the higher the price goes, the more likely people from countries with higher average salaries are also tempted to sell, because suddenly for them it also has a noticeable impact on their life, which means, not saying it cannot go up or it will not go up by the end of the year. The year is still relatively long, yeah, to $10, but every time we hit a psychological mark, $3, $3.50, $4, $4.50, $5, and so even numbers, there will be some people that are willing to cash out there. And the higher the price goes, the more likely it will also, or the number of people becomes bigger, because it will also become suddenly an amount to cash out that has an impact even for people that live in the US or that live in, I don't know, Dubai or Switzerland, where their income is higher. Yeah, right now at $2.60, if somebody in Switzerland has 1,000 pi, let's look up Switzerland average income. So that's the average before taxes, yeah. But that's the average income in Switzerland, so $7,500. So if somebody has 1,000 Pi right now, they're not tempted to sell because it's only around 30%. So what they can earn in their job in like 10 days. Yeah. Again, tax is not considered. I get that. Yeah. But if it reaches $10, it's 10,000, which means they could cash out more than a month's salary. And therefore, then people in richer countries would also be tempted to sell. Yeah. Which brings me to another post that I bookmarked here. No, wait, where was it? There. That post from back then in 2011. I wish I had kept my 1,700 Bitcoin at $0.06 instead of selling them at 30 cents now that they are at $8. Yeah. So as I've shared yesterday, it's obviously your Pi. You do what you want. If you want to sell, go ahead and sell. Personally, I believe it makes more sense. So it does not make sense to sell if it doesn't change your life in a meaningful way. Yeah. It makes more, unless you really need the money. You need, I don't know, if you don't pay your rent tomorrow, you are homeless. So sell some Pi to cover your rent. Yeah. If your fridge is empty and you don't have anything to eat, sell some Pi to get yourself some food. So obviously, yeah, if you want to feel like you profited from the project, maybe sell, I don't know, for $100 or $200. So you feel like you got something out of pushing a button. But personally, I feel like, so that the worst thing you can do is sell if you don't need the money urgently, or sell it to buy yourself some luxury good, like to buy yourself a new iPhone or a new MacBook or a new TV, or make a down payment on a car, as we saw some guy sharing that he allegedly did. Yeah. Because those are all luxury goods. And in 2, 3, 4 years from now, whatever iPhone you buy will be outdated. But the Pi you sold to get that iPhone might have increased 10 times in value. Sure, there's also the chance that Pi fails and you cashed out at the top and you're the king. Great, yeah. But personally, I feel like cashing out a little, sure, go for it. Selling to buy luxury goods, dumbest thing you can ever do. Even if Pi fails, yeah, my wife already tells me, Irina tells me to move on. Yeah, even if Pi fails, you didn't have to invest anything. So even if you cash out $50 or $100, you already made a profit for pushing a button. And then with the rest, you, in my opinion, should wait to see if it can become life-changing money. Or you sell now, and if Pi fully succeeds, you can then eventually make a tweet like this and have people share your tweets in live streams and videos and maybe news articles and blog posts. Yeah. Okay, moving on. Second migration, nobody knows when, but as I shared before, it makes more sense for the core team to first make sure that the remaining 6-7 million people that already passed KYC but haven't been migrated, that they get migrated. Yeah. So because giving people that already got a migration more coins to potentially sell doesn't help the project as much as getting more people into the mainnet and migrated. Yeah. Do you think someone with 1,000 Pi will be rich in 5 years, in your opinion? Honestly, no idea. It's too early to tell. Obviously, the price development is great and promising. But again, right now, the price is basically low supply. A lot of people locked up their Pi. Great exchange listing for day one, and the speculation about the Binance listing. Those are the things that right now, in my opinion, mostly support the price. Also, people with some spare money that really believe in the project actually bought extra Pi. I mean, I bought 250 Pi for around, I don't know, $250 pretty much, yeah, on average. So to put into my wallet, which is not a lot, but still I bought some more, others bought some more. So, but there will be the gap between hype of exchange listings and ecosystem with great apps, where we might see a little bit of a decline. And then it will come down to the ecosystem. If there are great apps that attract users to Pi network and to buy Pi coins and then use them in the apps, then the sky is the limit, more or less, or reasonable numbers are the limit that are not like bigger than the entire money supply in the world, for example. Yeah. Welcome, Ori. Welcome. Where can we get news from South Korea? Because there seems to be big whales, right? Honestly, no idea. So, and if there's a specific place for South Korea, it probably is in Korean. So hard to read if you don't speak the language. Yeah, so, but really don't know. Afia Michael, welcome. A big effect on price. Binance listing for sure. So if Binance announces a listing, then it increases the trading volume. It will attract more people that right now that just are solely trading on Binance and don't want to deal with having an extra exchange account or so. It gives the coin more spotlight. It makes it possible for more people to trade it actively. On the other hand, if Binance were, despite the majority of people voting for a listing, say, nah, we're not going to list it, then we will probably go below $2 again really, really quick, because part of the increase right now is definitely because some people are speculating, okay, now the Binance listing is more likely because it was only, basically, it was only 1 day till the poll ends, and it's 86% for the listing. So they speculate that with the listing, the price will go further up. And I also believe that with the listing, it will go up. Yeah. I guess soon we'll find out about the unverified tokens. No, it's just the grace period might end, but the team still has to run the calculations. So for now, all unverified tokens will still show as unverified, or all tokens that come as bonus and referral stuff will still show unverified. I believe that this will be done later, maybe this year, maybe it takes even longer. But the first goal is get more pioneers their migration, get more users KYC verified and give them their migration, maybe even figure out a way to do the KYC for minors with parental consent. And then after that, the team will probably work on sorting out the unverified balances, yeah. Low-key hope they extend because it's just going back into the mining pool. Wish we could vote and find consensus on this. Yeah, I said I also hope that they extend it. I feel like they should do a final extensions by, I said, 2 or 3 months. This is more than enough time to give everyone the chance to jump back into the project and complete KYC and 30 mining sessions and whatnot. And whoever is then missing the train because within 2 or 3 months they haven't heard of the launch, they didn't bother to do it, it's just their own fault. Yeah. It's not really clear if my referrals did KYC, even though I don't see any names on the message. If there are no names shown, then I think it means they all passed KYC. Yeah? I cannot check that, but because on one hand, it's great, I have so many referrals. On the other hand, if I open my referral section and even try to send a reminder, my app just reloads. Yeah, so yeah. Like Irina said, please don't forget, hit the thumbs up button, helps a lot for the stream to get more attention. So, and if you're not subscribed yet, obviously subscribe. Yeah, sorry to hear that. Unfortunately, nothing you can do. If you're stuck with KYC, you can just wait. It's weird for some people. It just goes through in basically 5 minutes. For others, it takes ages. Maybe your pictures are slightly blurry. I made a video about that, what to do when you're stuck in KYC, that actually explains the different reasons why some people take forever. It has to do with the AI basically constantly improving, and it's not rejecting your application because it thinks, okay, if it has a few more samples and learns from it, then it can actually potentially also deal with your application in the future. But yeah, unfortunately, you just have to wait. Yeah. Nobody can tell you when the migration will happen. I know the last step in the checklist says that it's within 14 days, but it might as well be 4 weeks, 4 months. Yeah, so nobody can tell that. The migrations are on average, I would say, speeding up. We can see that on Explore Pi. If we look at the number of accounts, you can see that the number of migrated users increases and they were sped up, so the curve accelerates. You can also see it here in the migration frequency that in January and February, the number of migrated accounts increased drastically. And if it further increases, then obviously the couple million users that are already KYC verified and not migrated yet should be migrated also within the next 6 months, maybe even faster. But yeah, nobody can tell you how fast it will happen. I have locked Pi even if my referrals KYC. They are keeping people from getting Pi so they can sell. I'm not sure what you're talking about. That's what you're saying. They're holding people from getting Pi so there's no sell pressure. This is a scam. No, this is not a scam. You're just too lazy to read. And pardon me to say it, a little bit of an idiot here. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. So before you run away screaming or so, hear me out. You locked up your Pi. You went through a migration checklist. Yeah, so I'm actually going to share my iPhone for this, so there's no arguing. Yeah, so you went through a migration checklist or mainnet checklist, and in this mainnet checklist, you confirmed your lockup, where it clearly states how the lockup works, You said, I agree to all of this. I know how it works. I'm happy with it. And you press the button to lock it in. And it even clearly mentions that the lockup countdown will begin after the transfer to the mainnet, which makes it your own decision. You locked your Pi and they are locked up until the lockup expires. And now you're unhappy with it because you want to cash out and realize the money maybe or so, or you just want to have the possibility to cash out. And now you're calling a project that had a super successful launch a scam instead of admitting that you made a mistake. Yeah, act like a grown-up, take responsibility for your own actions. You locked in, you have to wait till the end. Yeah, and as for the unverified balance, all of that has also been communicated in blog posts and other things. So you could have just bothered to read the updates and then you would have known already in advance how it works. But calling it a scam because of something you did is, yeah, it's just childish. Yeah. But yeah, if it makes you happy, keep calling the project a scam. Maybe go ahead and delete the app and yeah, so you don't have to deal with it anymore because yeah, like, yeah, the camera focus is sometimes not working that great. Yeah. So yeah, circling back, moving on. I'd rather marry or date rich before I sell Pi at this price. That's the right attitude. But then don't tell your new rich groom or bride that you have a ton of Pi. How much of the unverified Pi will be left after the great? We don't know. Like if that depends on how many of your users of your referrals pass KYC. And how much they contributed to your unverified Pi. So there's no way to know that because again, so if you have 10 referrals and 5 of them pass KYC, you cannot assume that you get 50% because if you had 5 referrals 3 years ago when the mining rate was higher, but then, and they mined till now, but they somehow just didn't do KYC and 5 referrals that joined 2 weeks ago or 2 months ago, then the 5 that didn't pass KYC contributed 99% to your unverified balance, whereas the 5 that recently joined contributed only 1%. So there is really no way of knowing how much of it you will get. It depends on if and how many of your referrals pass KYC and exactly how much each referral contributed to that unverified balance. That's why it's also such a complex calculation that the core team will only run it at a later time, and we just have to be patient. If there would be a way to figure it out or calculate it, I would already do it because obviously for me could be the difference between knowing it will be life-changing money or not. Yeah, so I think I'm good. Yeah, no pending pioneers, definitely. No, if there are no names shown as far as I know, then all of them passed KYC. So you should expect, or at least with relative certainty, expect that you get all the unverified Pi. Yeah? I have about 2,600 Pi in my wallet. Once it's unlocked later this year that I don't plan on touching, I've been buying here and there on the dips. And if it jumps enough, I'm going to cash and pay down debt. Yeah, that's also a good way. So if you want to cash out some, to cover your debt so you don't pay interest on money you owe anymore, also not a bad reason to cash out. Yeah, so there are plenty of reasons where even I would say good for you, great that you did it. Yeah, so all I'm saying, please just don't be be impulsive and cash out what could change your life, might not, but could change your life to buy some luxury nonsense. Yeah, and yeah, so what else did I want to add there? Not touching and buying here and there. Yeah, I forgot my train of thought, but overall you get the idea, so I'm fully with you here. Did you sell your Pi, bro? Discovered Pi because of you? No, I have all my Pi. The only thing that I didn't sell, but that I spent was when where do I have my playlist? Yeah. So Irina and I, we both locked up 90% for 3 years, and I would have locked up 100%, but we picked 90% so that I can make videos like those. So as you can see, already 2 years ago, I showed people 2 different vendors that accepted Pi, and for that I needed Pi. But we actually last week bought with our own money for $200, and yesterday or the day before yesterday, I don't remember, bought for another $50 that I basically had in trading profits from some bonus money I got, and withdrew that to the wallet. Now I remember what I wanted to say. When it unlocks later this year, what I'm actually doing, so the 250 Pi that I bought on BitGet altogether, or 247, I withdrew them to my wallet, and now I have them in a 2-week lockup, and I will just keep the 2-week lockup going because it gives me a small mining rate boost, but it still keeps me flexible. So if something unforeseen happens, Either we desperately need some money for whatever reason that our savings can't cover, or there is some news that is basically showing that the project is about to completely fail or whatever. Yeah. So whatever the reason, but by keeping the 2-week lockup and then every 2 weeks just locking it again for 2 weeks, I feel like I have flexibility while still getting a lockup or a bonus from the lockup. Yeah. If my referrals made KYC, is that enough for me to get bonus? Can they bonus coin, or do they need to enter the wallet for now? It's only about KYC verification. Yeah, your migration is independently of their migrations. If they pass KYC, Punky Dada, I don't know how to pronounce it. Yeah, but welcome here. Yeah, sadly, no way to speed it up. Yeah, the only thing that might be a little bit of a help here is, as I mentioned earlier, the number of migrations every month increases drastically. And as such, chances are that within the next 2 or 3 months, your account should also get migrated if it hasn't been yet. So I've also been helping with KYC verification, and I come across a lot of purely taken photos. Yeah, I mean, I've done 50 verifications, so not that many. I half the time forget about that. And I have to say, we're getting in overtime. So we're going to do 4 more minutes and then we call it quits for today. Yeah, so the stream doesn't get too long, and people that just want to watch the replay also don't feel overwhelmed. But I have to say, I'm also shocked how many people for the liveness check videos, for example, where it clearly states you should be alone in the video, you have to film yourself and so on. And then you see videos where they film their furniture, you see videos with 3 people in the video, and then the same people probably leave comments like, why am I not getting through or so. So it's sad, but yeah, there is a certain share of people that cannot follow simple instructions. But yeah, any news on Alpha Network? None that I'm aware of. I'm still pressing the button in Alpha Network once per day. Alpha Network. They were working on a real blockchain and a real token, but as you can see, if you go to your profile, or I would have to restart the app apparently because it's not always showing. You need to get an invitation to the mainnet, and then you can actually create a real wallet, which kind of puts a little bit of the lie to their previous claims and so on. Initially, when they claimed it's already a real blockchain, which I pointed out it's likely not, because there are no nodes other than the blockchain explorer in the app and so on. There is nothing. But yeah, I said, so I haven't given up the hope fully. It looks like they're trying to go in the right direction. So I'm still pressing that button once per day. And what's positive about Alpha Network in quotes is it's at least partially legit because the Alpha auctions work. So if you manage to actually win an auction, which can take you days that you keep track of the auction and bid on it again or so, you will definitely receive the USDT from that auction that you can then withdraw to your Ethereum wallet. So so mixed feelings about Alpha. It could go completely down the drain, but it seems like they're trying to actually get in the right direction. Maybe seeing how successful Pi Network's launch is, they might actually try to go more in that way. But then also the question would be, what can they do to set themselves apart from Pi Network and not just be a cheap knockoff? So but as I said, I'll keep pushing the button, and and then we'll see what they do. Yeah. Clearly. Still makes me angry that there is no KYC for under 18. I think 20% pioneers are under 18. Well, I mean, everything takes time. You know, it's a relatively small team working on the project, considering how many millions of users the project has. Sure, it would be nice if certain things would move faster. It would also be nice if they at one point would actually bother to improve the user interface and the look of the app and everything. But at the end of the day, while we can complain about or be unhappy about it as much as we want, since the launch of Pi Network, there has been slow and steady progress. Yeah, there have been some delays when they had to decide to develop their own KYC, because otherwise the cost would have been insane to cover the KYC for everyone using a third-party service. But outside of that delay, by making the decision to develop a decentralized KYC solution, they have been constantly delivering in slowly, but still. Yeah. So just like with the unverified balance and everything else, I'm confident that it will be delivered. It just takes time, and we just have to be patient. And yeah, so cannot change it anyway. Even new people who sign up, let's say today, have to pass. No. When you're new, Irina might be able to share a video, but when you're new, then you have a 6-month grace period. So from the time you sign up, so the deadline tomorrow is only for accounts that are older than 6 months already. Yeah? If your account is new, then you have 6 months. So you have 30 days where you have to complete your mining sessions. After you complete 30 mining sessions, you can submit KYC, and then you have to create your wallet and so on, so that within 6 months you complete everything. So till step 9. And if you don't manage within 6 months, you always lose the Pi that are older than 6 months. So it's then a moving period. Yeah. July is not that far away. As I said earlier, if you would bother to read the blog posts and updates, or watch some of my video about the topics, or even the shorts that I'm sharing, you would know. So so that's the whole point. You don't know what you're talking about. You run around calling a project a scam, when the fact is that you did not bother to read the updates that were shared. Otherwise, you would know. And not just the updates that were shared, because I also definitely already covered it in today's stream as well. So as I said, like, just move on, bro. Like, either bother to accept that you didn't do the research, and do it now, be a grown-up, or just go somewhere else, anyway, we're already done. So I'm sorry. I would love to answer more of your questions, but now it's already 11-minute overtime. I'm gonna switch here so you can enjoy me in my full glory again for a last time today. Thank you, everyone. Thank all of you, even the ones of you I might not agree with, for stopping by today. I hope you got your answers, even if some of you might not have liked those answers. And I hope to see you all tomorrow for another episode of Common Chaos Live. Don't forget, in the meantime, you can always also join our Discord community. A link to it is down in the video description, and also on the channel itself somewhere. And there we have a Pi Network channel. We have channels for all the other projects and so on. So there you also get your answers outside of the streams and can discuss them with me and all the other community members. So again, thanks for stopping by. Thanks, Jerry, for being here today as well. And have a great rest of the day, and then see you all tomorrow or on Discord. Till then, bye-bye.